Welcome to our lake. This is the lake that we get our water from to use in the cabin, and it needs to be purified. Lake water has all kinds of things living in it. This lake has beaver, muskrats, otters, fish, ducks, swans, loons. It also has moose and caribou swimming through it, so it gets a lot of use by critters, and they all do their business in the water. So it really needs to be cleaned up before it's safe for us to drink. The way we do that is we use a Berkey water filter. The Berkey has served us very, very well. We didn't have one for many years and did all kinds of things, bleach, boiling, filtering, to make the water not only safe, but also palatable. Because we drink this water, we drink tea, coffee, I cook with it, the animals get it as well. All the water that we ingest here at the cabin is put through a Berkey water filter. It works great. But I was offered a chance at trying out a reverse osmosis water filter here, as well as on the road in my car camper. And car camping season for me is over, so I'm doing the review here from the cabin. To get the water from the lake up to the cabin, it has to be put into buckets or containers, water jugs, and hauled up to the cabin. Right now we're waiting for the lake to freeze over thick enough that we can take our skidoo out on it, and then we take the skidoo down and we fill up a skimmer, which is a sled that goes behind the skidoo, with all of our water containers, fill them all up by drilling a hole in the lake and getting the water out of the lake into the containers, into the skimmer, and up to the cabin. It makes it really easy for us to get a lot of water at one time. And we have to do that about every couple of weeks when it's just Trev and I that are here. But right now, what I'm using is buckets. I use these 2 square buckets. They're from Kitty Litter. Really like these ones because they have a hinged lid. They hold just the right amount of water for me to be able to carry them. To get the water out of the lake, I have to chop a hole in the ice with my hatchet, and then I use a pot to scoop it out and put it into the buckets. I take the water up to the cabin and I put some bleach into it. It sits overnight, and then I start to filter it through the Berkey. It doesn't really need the bleaching process because I don't filter the water that I use to wash the dishes with. I add the bleach to the water just to purify it that way. I'm going to fill up 2 buckets and take them up to the cabin, and then we're going to try out this reverse osmosis water filter. I tried to chop out a bowl that's big enough to dip the pot into. It doesn't have to be all open in the bottom of the hole. It just has to have a hole in the bottom, and the bowl that I chop out of the ice fills up. You can see there are little critters swimming around in there, and there's a bunch that you probably can't see because they're quite small. This is a really bad time of year for little things in the water. Sometimes it's really good, other times it's really bad. It just depends on the season. But these are all going to get filtered out by the Berkey or by this new reverse osmosis filter. So I've got my buckets filled. Now I need to carry them up to the cabin. This is the ITEHIL water purifier that uses reverse osmosis to purify the water. It has 2 filters, a hybrid and a reverse osmosis filter, both of which can be replaced. This is a drawstring bag that you can use to store the hoses that come with it, as well as the charge cord and instructions. So what I'm going to do is to test out the ITEHIL water purifier. I'm going to test it the same way that I do our Berkey water filter, and that's by using water that has been dyed with red food coloring. With the Berkey, After you've added red food coloring to the dirty water and it comes out clear, you know that the Berkey filters have done their job. I figured the same concept should work with the ITEHIL water purifier. So I've added 3 cups of water to my clear measuring cup. I'm going to put the suction end into the water. On the side where the clean water is going to come out, I have a 2-cup measuring cup that you'll be able to see how much water I actually get out of that 3 cups of water that I'm starting with. The reverse osmosis system of purifying water has a byproduct. Some of the water you're going to get out of this, you can't drink. You could use it for washing dishes. The white hose is the purified water hose. The blue hose is the not purified water. It's the byproduct water. Because I have to carry the water up the hill from the lake, I don't want to waste any. That is just a lot more work than I want to be doing. So I drain the garbage water hose back into my buckets that I will then put through the Berkey. I have the 2 hoses plugged in on the side here. One of the things I really don't like about this water filter is these hoses. They're very stiff. I think they could have used a better material for these. They're so stiff they don't stay where you put them, and they've got this permanent curl in them. We'll see if the red food coloring is removed in the process when it comes out this side. So I'm going to turn it on, and it's going to go through a 30-second process of flushing out the system before it will actually start to run water into the measuring cup. At least that's what it's supposed to do. This is the on-off button. There's the light come on for run. You can see the red water going through the hose. And now it's into the machine. I'm starting to get a few drips of water coming out of the throwaway water end back into my bucket. So if we look over here at the fresh water that's coming out of the red water, you can see it is clear. There's not even a tinge of pink in that water. So it did filter out the food coloring, which is what the Berkey does, which is awesome. But you can see how much water I've actually got out of that 3 cups. There's no water really coming out of this cup anymore. It just is, there's not enough. That's what I mean about these hoses, is they're so stiff. They don't stay where you put them. That's how much water I have left in here, the unfiltered water with the red dye in it still. There's the 1 cup measure there. It's maybe 1/4 of a cup, maybe? No, it's not 1/2 a cup. But yeah, and I couldn't get that out with the hose there. And the fresh water, which ended up being about 1/2 a cup. I don't know if you can see that, but there's the 1/2 cup mark there. There's the water line there, whether I'm holding the cup level or not. So that's out of 3 cups of water that needed to be filtered. I ended up with 1/2 a cup. So for me, that's not really a great result for what I need as far as filtered water goes. We go through at least 1 Berkey full of water a day. That's between drinking coffee and tea and any cooking I do. I also give the water that's been filtered through the Berkey to the dogs and the cat. So this kind of production is not going to work for us here at the cabin. I can see this being a good system if you are the kind of person who likes to go camping in places where there might be a creek or a lake and it's not a campsite that provides drinking water for you. This would be a great solution for being able to use the water out of the creek or the lake. It would purify it for you and then you could drink it, but you're not going to get high production. The other thing that I'm not crazy about is that you have to recharge it. You can only purify so much water before it needs to be recharged. I'll put on the screen what the company says, how much water this ITEHIL water purifier will filter from 1 charge. I have found that it filtered very little on one charge, and it seemed to take a long time to charge the battery in this up when I did the initial charge of it when I first got it. And it didn't really have a good indicator light to show that it was charged up. When it's charging, this little light down here that says charge, it flashes on and off red, but it continues to flash on and off red for a very long time. I don't even remember it actually did come to its full charge as far as being solid red, because it was on the charger for a couple of days and we were charging it from our solar battery. It does what it says it will do. It filters the bad stuff out of water so that you can drink it.